to see if we can look at that route, perhaps. It's more conservative, it's insured, and it's accessible.
Right, yeah. So this is definitely out of my lane, but what about anything like a Series I bond? Which is, tracks to inflation. It's a US savings bond.
We don't have the answer to that
How liquid are
question.
they? How liquid are they?
I think you have to hold them for a period of time.
You do. I want to say it's almost 10 years.
5, I think. I
5.
think it's 5,
I
but
can take a look, but yeah.
because that at least gives you inflation.
Right, so you could only invest a small
Yeah,
portion.
it's
of
a small
that.
portion.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna suggest this. I'm gonna suggest that Lisa go back and talk to the people at Dime. And get CD rates. And I think what we should do is authorize Lisa with good consultation with Jean or myself or anybody else who designate to execute a sort of a ladder strategy on CDs with nothing out past 5 years. And not more in total than 125,000.
Yeah.
So that at the end of the day, we have liquid that we do, it's basically checking. And we're trying to earn something up to 5 years with the retained bond. So
that makes sense to me. I wasn't sure if we were, I should know this probably, but I wasn't sure if we were already in some ladder CDs or just nothing. Yeah, okay. Just
so that's what I think we should consider. So I'm gonna make a proposal or suggest that we adopt the following proposal. Lisa's authorized to have further discussions with Dime Bank. And with other banks, if
Is there another community bank that we also would want to try to do business with out here?
It's becoming hard.
Oh, right, I was just,
You know,
we want to try to do
that's-
business with, let's do.
that's why we tried, we had Capital One because they had an office in South, and they left.
Okay,
So we went, and by the way, they were terrible customer service. I once had to try to get to them, they don't answer the phone, and they answer it in Indian. And you're sitting in, and you're trying to have a debate with the guy who, anyway, so we left them to go to Dime, then Dime, or to go to BNB, and then they got bought by Dime. So there are no community banks. There's almost nobody with branches. Chase has a branch. There's a friendly local bank. that we want to deal with. So I think we're gonna stay, although again, I wanna, if you wish to contact another bank, we're gonna authorize you to do so.
Is there a bank that anyone would like me to reach out to? Because I'm happy to do whatever.
What about Bridgehampton? Are they?
Bridgehampton is now Dime.
Is done. Oh, sorry. Okay.
What about-
People's United is going to be acquired in the next couple of months by M&T. Investors is being acquired by, I don't remember. And the only other community banks on the island that are prevalent are in Nassau. Actually, I take it back. First of Long Island just opened an office in Riverhead. And they are still one of the, when it was Suffolk Bridge and First of Long Island, it was those 3 were the comparable. So they just opened a branch in Riverhead.
Interesting.
And I know the people who are in that branch. So I can get you the contact information because they're old Suffolk people.
Okay.
There's another one, Hanover, but that's up in Nassau County, and then it moves into the city.
I think if we look at those two,
But First of Long Island is,
Yeah.
they came out to Riverhead now.
I think that's a good comparison
Yes.
point, and we don't have to go crazy about it. But I know I've had very good experience with Bridgehampton, so hopefully that's
It's a different
carries
bank.
over to,
It's a different
Done.
bank.
it's different people, different everything. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so go ahead.
But that was our basis for moving for Capital One to Bridge, because we wanted to be in a community.
Yeah,
Dime was very helpful for Cast. They gave us the mortgage and we're closing today, so they couldn't have been more active in the community.
Excellent.
And gave us good terms, very
Excellent.
flexible, so
Good.
I think very highly.
I know Bridge had been very supportive of that.
Yes.
So
okay, great.
That's good to hear.
So the proposal is that Lisa be authorized to contact First of Long Island and Don. And she's authorized to execute a strategy of ladder CDs no further than 5 years with no more total than 125,000.
I'll second that.
I,
Okay. All right, Lisa. we're good?
Got it, yeah.
I think that concludes. Does anybody else have any business for the finance? That concludes our finance committee meeting. The finance committee is now adjourned. We'll now open the meeting of the corporation. Note that with all members present, we have a quorum and all members are physically present. Again, Executive Director Lisa Mulligan has circulated an agenda for the regular meeting. And we will go through the agenda in the old business. Lisa also circulated the minutes from the meeting, last meeting on May 21st. So we will want to approve the minutes and have questions.
I had no questions. I guess.
I keep
All in
seconding.
favor?
Aye.
Lisa, I think the minutes have been approved.
Okay, thank you.
Now, B and C are continuation of topics that we've been discussing. I would frankly rather put these off until the conclusion of the other new business. There are some things going on that we do want to discuss. I'll just leave those until the new bid, we complete what's listed as new business and we'll go on to those. They may be extended, they probably won't. Okay. And I don't think there's any other old business. Okay. Then with new business, let's introduce our brand new board member, Steve Henn, who's approved by the town board. Thanks, guys. I circulated.
Thank you for joining us.
I circulated his resume when he was during the process, so I'm sure you and I know I am very happy to have Steve on board.
Yes,
He's an excellent.
Hopefully, we don't have any bad credits.
You want me to reveal you the letter?
yes, you can.
I'm not going to read the letter, but we have a letter of resignation today. Because as many of you may know, Arena's had to move a considerable distance. And this is her swan song. if you will.
Well, we so appreciate you being here today.
Very much so.
So we won't be singing, but we do appreciate all the service you provided us, and I know you'll be missed.
I will, and I will miss you. I'm very sad, but obviously it's too far for me to really. And I it takes me out of the community and out of touch with what's going on, so. I'm sure you'll all carry on quite well without me, but I'm sad to leave.
Less well, but I agree, we will have to carry on. What is the committee member resolution? Just to formally have.
Yeah, we have a resolution that appoints all of our committee members, so it needs to be just
I
officially cleaned up.
hereby move to appoint Steve Hammond as a new board member.
And to the committees.
And to the committees,
all
yeah,
committees.
and so, we have everybody on all the committees, so.
So it makes it
We're all
easy.
looking for something to do.
Exactly. Second,
Second.
all in
That's my
favor?
role today.
Welcome aboard. Thank you. You're
Yes.
formally welcome aboard.
Sorry, I'll
Yes,
miss you.
I'll keep you seat warm.
We can have a reunion.
Oh, good,
Yes.
you can join us through Zoom too.
Yes.
Okay.
Just before we jump to the 2022 budget, I'd like to discuss briefly Lisa's compensation. So Lisa, if you don't mind. I don't think we need to go into executive sessions. Does anyone feel that we do?
I don't.
No.
Because this is going to be a
Since we
simple,
had-
straightforward
I
resolution.
think we all are clear on.
I'm not gonna close the recording, just let me know
That's
when
what I
you're
mean.
ready.
I don't think we need to go to executive session. I'm going to simply propose that we increase Lisa's compensation by $75 a month. I don't think that's a lot, it's 5%. But she didn't get an increase last year.
Correct.
And as you pointed out, we had a contract with Bruce that ran with a 2 or 3% increase every year. So I think if we do this now, but we keep in mind each year that to the extent that she continues to perform the way she has, which I frankly think is.
She's invaluable.
Oh,
She's just,
Yeah.
we spent 6, 8 months without an executive director, and I was constantly wondering when someone would catch us doing something wrong. And fortunately, we never did anything wrong, but I was constantly worried. And with Lisa here, we don't have to do it.
We have no
Well, and
issues.
if there were any wrong, it would be completely unintentional, knowing the character of the board members, so.
Yeah, but again, I was just, because there's a bunch of things that easily trip you up in terms of
Yeah.
regulatory structure.
Particularly with Paris and reporting and.
And here we have someone who's already been doing this for years and does it for another local entity today. So it's very valuable to us. So
Anything on
again,
the financial side, she makes it very easy.
so I'm gonna propose that we adopt a resolution increasing our compensation by 75.
Will she be happy with that? Do you think?
Yes.
Second.
Is she overwhelmed with joy? No.
Seems low.
But I mean, it's, you know, I mean, do we want to go higher? I mean,
But it's
I
an
would go
additional,
higher.
um,
We want to go to 100. I mean, it was a month.
Hundred's a round number.
We can go to 100 based on our prior experiences with our prior executive director and the yearly increase. That would not be out of the realm or out of the norm. That would fall right in sync if we wanted to do that.
the only thing I would point out is that was during a period of time when there was more activity. So just something to keep in mind. It's still not an outrageous amount of money, but that precedent may or may not apply depending on what our status is.
Certainly going forward, if we'll do any transactions. But unfortunately, her job has really been regulatory and administrative.
Yeah.
And
Which doesn't change a lot.
And
It just
keeping-
means we have more money if we're actually doing.
But keeping us on the straight and narrow during COVID as well, where there were additional kinds of things that she needed to think through for us to stay in compliance. I think 100 sounds like a nicer number, actually.
All right, and I'm going to propose that we resolve to increase our compensation by $100 a month to $1,600.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I should get it.
I'll get her.
The Emily husband, who should open the door? Yeah, the one who's ever watched it.
Oh,
Did anyone say anything?
I apologize to the person who came by.
okay. So we moved the slightly out of order because the board has agreed to increase our executive director's compensation from $1,500 to $1,600 a month.
Thank you,
And-
everyone.
And that will tweak the budget slightly, but we're going to assume that it's not going to make a material difference in our budget.
Can I have the, just for the minutes, who made the motion?
I motion, and Francis, did you second?
Yeah, for once I didn't.
Thank you.
But I would have.
And thank you all.
So you're going to circulate to us an amended budget just reflecting what we
Yes.
just agreed. And now we can move on to the budget, knowing that it will be tweaked slightly. Again, the finance committee reviewed and approved the budget at its meeting earlier today. I'm going to ask that the general board of the corporation also review and approve the budget as tweaked for the $100 a month that we just agreed to. I'm going to move that we approve the budget as prepared.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
With respect to investments, again, the finance committee at its earlier meeting today agreed that we would authorize our executive director to approach 2 banks, Dime and First of Long Island, with the intent of executing laddered CD strategy out of no longer than 5 years, with in the aggregate no more than 125,000 of our 180,000. That was approved by the finance committee earlier. I'm asking the general board to also approve that. Anyone want to?
I motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Lisa, I will get back to you on a contact for First of Long Island, and I will get back to you on Noreen's suggestion on IBON.
Thank you.
Let us just quickly revert, well, make sure, is there any other new business that anyone wants to address at this time? Let's just go back a bit to the old business and do update on marketing and update on new issues and extension. We have been discussing at our last several meetings, whether there was any way in which we could expand our reach, perhaps looking for other transactions to engage in. We all, I think, canvassed our town, trying to think of whether there are any issues who might possibly be interested. I know I reached out to several people, Francis did, we reached out to Cast, because I didn't want to, and by the way, Cast would have made sense to finance to us because their needs are actually very small.
Right.
Their capital needs.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah,
needs, I'm sure, are very great, but.
And as we know, one of the impediments to our being very effective is when you go to take what would normally be a commercial loan and use it to do either a bond issuance or a local bank tax exempt loan. It just costs money. It costs $150,000 to $200,000 to run a transaction through us, and you have to earn that back on the spread between taxable and tax exempt, which is 40 basis points. So it's very difficult to make us attractive to a $600,000, $1 million, $2 million transaction. We'd be happy to discuss with any entity that wants our advice on that, but it's going to be unusual for us to be able to do a transaction that small, unless they've got a great rate from the bank, or the bank is eager to have tax exemption, or there's some other driver that we can provide that. So I did reach out to Peconic Land Trust, thinking that perhaps with all their activities throughout the area that they might be interested. And in fact, they are interested. Unfortunately, the first project is in Riverhead, and it's $11 million. And they were actually discussing internally the possibility of financing. I asked for a meeting with them because, as I indicated, the gentleman that called me, Tim Caulfield, I assume he was delegated because he knew more about finance than the others, and I can only say I hope not. Because he didn't know anything, and he asked me a million little questions, which is fine, by the way. I don't have any problem with that. It was a very pleasant conversation. He's a smart guy, but they're not really ready to finance. And if they were to finance something in Riverhead, I can't think of really a good reason why they. I mean, they want to, but I can't think of it. Riverhead has a local development corporation.
But we're nice.
We are very nice.
We wouldn't be able to.
The question would be, would the nexus be sufficient that the land trust has a small office? And my guess is it would not. They do have a small presence here.
Yeah.
But again, I think that would be insufficient for us to become the issuer. So if I meet with them, I'll give them general advice because I know stuff. And also I'll indicate that they should most likely reach out to Riverhead. I was gonna bring Lisa along to the meeting because they were thinking of trying to meet this afternoon, but they had contacted us. So.
But, and obviously we want to foster the relationship with them because their next project might
Yes,
be in.
correct.
Exactly, and that's really the real goal here is to get them to do a transaction with us when they next do a transaction. And obviously they do sizable transactions at times, and they've
I've been
been
involved with them, John, so I'll keep a close eye on that.
and they've been very active, and it's look, let's admit it, it's a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing better
Love,
than
we'd love to support that.
than trying to get some land preserved, and especially sizable chunks of land.
So
So
what would you say the smallest transaction would be that would make sense for an organization?
in today's market, assuming you're gonna have a 20 or 25-year maturity, and assuming that you're gonna have a spread of 40 or 50 basis points, you really want to do at least $5 or $6 million.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, you can do the math and present value the number back,
yeah,
but I think you would probably achieve savings if you had a transaction that long and of that size and with that spread.
and that would vary depending on spreads between taxable and tax exempt and,
Right.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
And the duration is the hard part, because most not-for-profits want to pay off the debt as soon as possible.
Correct.
So it's
Now-
more like a bill, as you said, like a low-income housing or affordable housing.
Well, and they have to match the duration with the asset.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Now, that was the other issue that has come up frequently is whether or not we can participate in low-income housing transactions. That is one area of expertise which I actually lack, but I do have other colleagues who have done this frequently. I did speak to some of them yesterday. it appears that the low-income housing is typically implemented by developers. And what they do is they create an entity, a partnership. The GP in the partnership, the general partner, has a very, very small interest, but is not for profit. They then sell to tax-paying investors the bulk of the limited partnership interests. So you wind up with 1 versus 99% ownership structure. And those tax-paying investors, obviously the ones who benefit from what's called the 4% tax rate. So they're the ones who drive the transaction, and they're the ones who make the investment. And then other investment is raised in the form of debt, but the basic 4% tax credit sale to tax-paying investors is what provides them the equity. Do not believe that structure achieves that not-for-profit status. It may, but I don't think it does. The transactions are also done. I've never seen LDC do a low-income housing project. They're usually done by HDCs, which we are not. And those transactions are done with what's called state bond allocation, so they're so-called private activity bonds. So we'd be entering into a bit of a thicket for us in terms of getting the bond allocation from the state, understanding the structure such that we're comfortable that it wouldn't involve any reputation risk. And so far, we've done 2 transactions. We were very, very conscious of reputation risk in each case. So this could engender reputation risk because there could be a default long housing project. So again, I don't want to table this. I want to hear other people's opinions, but we're not being approached by low-income housing developers. We know that there's 1 or 2 others that are floating around. But if the structure is such as it sounds like it would be, we would not automatically qualify. We would have to go to the town and ask for our powers to be expanded. And that, I think, would require a consultation with the bond counsel for both of us is the same, but I think we would have to have a conversation so that the amendment to our powers was properly drafted. So it was limited, because I know the town wanted to be limited. And then again, we may or may not be taking on reputation risk. So it doesn't strike me as being something that we need right now to address. However, again, if we listen to the community and try and find out, for instance, we can, Rona Smith was a member. She actually develops things on the low-income housing front. And, I can speak to her and make sure that we're aware if there's something that needs to come and we can address it if it comes. But I don't think I want to particularly go before the town board right now to make a suggestion.
And I think we would incur legal fees and, so it doesn't make sense to me. I agree with you. It doesn't make sense to me to pursue that, involving legal fees and the time of the board, unless and until a live project comes along that is really compelling to us, that makes sense for us and compelling to them, that makes sense for them and the town. And at that point, then the town would be a lot more amenable to expanding powers if it was in everyone's best interest to pursue it.
Yes, on that, I don't know if someone has more knowledge than I thought the town was actively trying to think of affordable housing as an initiative. I don't know if it's an informal group, or if that is the case, I would think we want to help participate in that informal committee, because this may be one of the tools to get something done. Instead of being reactive, can we be proactive?
Yeah,
if this committee exists.
And to
I
be
don't know if you know.
in the, in the mix.
The
to
thought
know about.
process,
Yeah.
to help, because we all know in this room, we need affordable housing on the south, on the north fork.
And this is the one meeting for Saturdays. So my liaison is Phil. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to Sarah and I'll indicate that, we would love to be helpful if an opportunity arose in which it was in everybody's interest for us to participate. And as a result of that, we'll want to find out who in the town is engaged in these activities and perhaps have, maybe they could come to our next meeting.
Yeah.
And then discuss it with us.
Or
I'd be
we could
glad
go
volunteering.
there now.
Exactly.
There is a group.
If there is a group. So let me talk, I thought there was a group.
I used to serve on.
So let me talk to Sarah And then she'll identify whomever, and I will circulate how she responds back to everybody. And if it requires us to get together with them, we'll try and schedule it. If it's simple to have them come to our next meeting, we'll try and schedule that. But we will try to address this such that we can be proactive and available if, again, it's in the best interest of everybody. I think Francis is right.
I don't wanna oversimplify. To me, it sounds like a natural fit in terms of assisting. The hard part where the devil seems to be in the structure, to make sure that it fits both needs, both organizations, both committees, groups.
Yeah, and again, I do think that the next step would involve us having to pay some kind of professional fees just to get proper advice. Again, a friend of mine told me doesn't need me to run over to the town and say, hey, let's move on. So I think that was I think we agreed that we're not gonna do anything right now. We are gonna reach out to Sarah. We're gonna try and identify who, how, what the town is doing and see if we could be involved, engaged, either by meeting with them or having them on the website.
And the lead time on these projects is forever.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
you know, just starting the process now is not gonna lose any
Exactly.
opportunities.
I think that's exactly what we're.
I would say from past, we're finding there's a lot more wealth that's willing to invest in the community. We have to fundraise, I think you guys know the project's about $3 million, we're gonna do that pretty quick.
Yeah.
And the only reason I put that on the table is if there is an opportunity for affordable housing, I don't wanna call it low income. If a not-for-profit really gets behind that.
Yeah.
I do believe there's a fair amount of giving fortunately now out here. That it doesn't have to be for profit, this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I would love to help the town or whoever, because I do think that's an issue we all want, it sounds like you've been trying to address it as well. So I'm hopeful, I guess is what my bottom line is. We find the right charity who wants to get behind it, we find the right land, we get the.
CDC and the Long Island Housing Partnership have been pretty active across Long Island with affordable housing, workforce housing, so there's they've been putting up a decent amount. There's a project under construction in Port Jefferson Village right now through the CDC. It's a partnership with the CDC and Conifer. They're out of Rochester, I think. And I know they have other projects that are in the hopper around Long Island.
So I'll reach out to Sarah today.
I would say that some of that was involved in Riverhead. Because part of
Yes,
those units
yes.
have to be affordable for them to gain
So
permissions.
they did at least one of the projects in Riverhead. They did a project, that same partnership, they did a project in Coram. They've done quite a few. Further west also.
I think that concludes the agenda unless there's any other new business or other.
I just wanted to bring up the flip side of marketing for 1 second. So we kind of looked at marketing as a two-pronged approach, and part of it was very fruitful. So I thought
Whoever wrote the ad was a good ad.
that was it. Everybody worked on it together. That we
Yeah, that was a real camel.
yeah. I should show you my notes because I think I had
to be published twice to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The town clerk published
But-
it alone,
This is my notes from the meeting. So
yeah.
we yeah.
We wrote the ad several. So thank you.
And I thought we were gonna put a check next to that box.
Well,
So do you want me to go back to the town and ask them to run the ad again?
Yep.
Okay.
Did you only get one response?
no.
No, Steve. you-
Oh, okay.
Just wrote
There was
to the top.
sunscreen.
Only one qualified.
Okay.
Yeah, which was, yeah, let's just say. Tried once
Enough said.
before.
It's kind of like the army, everyone else stepped back.
Well, and
Exactly.
you're extra qualified given your engagement, and, you know,
Yeah.
so we're lucky to
Yes.
have you.
So we're gonna do that again.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other
And I just wanted to confirm, we all agree that the San Simeon, given their budget, I mean, the amount that they have to spend is in pieces and it's still relatively small. I mean, I guess the later phases add up to, 5 million, but I don't know over what period of time, and it's all discrete, an elevator here, retrofitting, the biggest expense is retrofitting rooms, to go from doubles to singles, I think, but,
Makes sense, that's.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's.
So they're
needed,
not
but-
expanding the footprint.
But they're not expanding the footprint, at this time.
Are any charter schools opening up in the community? Have I heard that? No.
Well, I haven't heard of any, doesn't mean they aren't.
Right. Obviously, that would be a natural for us. For us to happen.
That's true, if charter school, or if they were charter.
Right,
There's one in Riverhead, but I'm not, with COVID last year, I'm not familiar with anything over to the top.
Yeah, those are, yeah, I mean, they're a little tricky. But yes.
Right, what's the red default list? And then you get back.
You get the default list, and if you, they can lose the charter for you 7 years, and they keep you revoked. I don't think it's very common, the revocation of charters.
There's not that many here, so.
Well, I think the level of the public schools here is such that it doesn't, there's not the kind of demand for charter that there might be elsewhere.
Yeah, computer charter basis.
Yeah.
I had the misfortune of doing both the charter school and the charter school workout. So they don't necessarily always go smoothly.
I don't know if there's any colleges that are
There's no colleges in the town.
Yeah, but or anybody who was planning on putting a satellite, but it's, with COVID, it doesn't seem like that's the route that colleges are going.
And I don't think Stony Brook is building any new facilities. It's interesting, we should keep in mind that the ELIH structure gives Stony Brook an opportunity to finance through the ELIH if they ever would want to. You should just remember that, because they were very proud of that. And when they wrote the documents, they were very proud that they actually have created a backdoor financing that Stony Brook had accomplished in the town. But I don't know the people at LIH, if you want to reach out to them. The guy that was the CFO left, very smart guy.
I want to say Paul O'Connor, but that's.
No, wrong one.
Yeah.
That's.
Oh, he's the
Oh, he is. Yeah, you're right, but that's not, he's not the CFO.
No, he's the
CEO.
CEO,
He
yeah.
had an ex-banker, who was his CFO,
Yeah.
very smart guy. So I may reach out to them, find out if there's any interest, if they know it.
There's certainly stuff sprouted out all over the place.
Stony Brook is,
The
yeah,
Stony Brook,
this-
which is still ELIH.
yeah, the Stony Brook is expanding, and they are dropping a lot of facilities out here and expanding their reach out here significantly. I don't know how much they're spending for these buildings and these new entities that they've created, but they are definitely out here. So I'll reach out.
I assume we have good contact with the zoning department, but like, where does it start? If we want to get
A
early
project.
on a project,
Yeah.
would be zoning
Planning
board,
Well,
right?
would
They
it be-
know about this. For example, if Stony Brook came in and wanted to look at a piece of property and.
Hmm.
Right, because then we would want to call Stony Brook. I just want to make sure we're not missing.
Good point.
I don't have any contact at the zoning. with zoning.
That's yeah, and Sarah might be able to help guide us on that.
Yeah, then where would it,
Sarah.
they go to the planning board first?
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking,
That's-
that's
yeah.
why I said planning. But it might be depending on the stage of the project, if it's less planning by the town and more, like the project's ready to go, then they have to go to the zoning board.
Then, yeah.
Yeah, but I think, we should sort of follow both.
Like if a solar farm, and I
Yeah.
get, they're not for profit,
Yeah,
but that would be a perfect project. So I get solar facility, or long-term contract, duration match. And again, I'm just trying to throw out ideas as we're looking at
Yeah,
the business.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Zoning would probably hear about it.
No, that's not for that. That's not for that. That would be if you could do it at all. That's not something.
Once you get a tree hugger, it's a great environment.
Yeah. Because
My experience is, zoning is too far out, it's usually comes through planning.
Yeah, planning.
Okay, you guys know better than me.
Let's start there.
Sarah would.
Yeah,
Sarah
now
would
I'll ask Sarah that question as well. So
Yeah.
who the low income professional is that the town is working with, and you know, whether there's a moment in the planning process that we could be made aware of. Perfect. Okay. I think we've exhausted the agenda.
Did I extend the average meeting?
I
Does
told you
anybody
it'd be
have
about
any-
an hour.
Does anyone have any other items to be discussed?
No,
I will-
I'm gonna give Lisa now my new email,
Okay,
and
thank you.
when I get my computer back from the Geek Squad, I'll send you all an email with my new email on it, just.
Would you like me to share it with the group?
Oh, that would be great.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, just, you know.
I'd only like to conclude by again thanking Noreen for her
Yes.
Yes.
excellent participation. There's not many of us left.
No,
It's just you and me.
The founding
The founding.
parents.
Parents. Oh, yes, my work life.
It's been great. I hope you get to go back to the Christmas festivities this year.
We did have a Christmas lunch, but we didn't have one last year. But we will have one this year, if we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we will. We'll have one this year. Then I move to adjourn.
So,
Second.
All in
Favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice meeting everyone in person.
Nice to meet you too. I'm sorry, this is the last time.
Yes, one and done.
Yeah, not the last time. Hey, we get.
Yeah, come back for the Christmas.
I'll come back for the Christmas.
You should have this, I suppose, it's an actual formal record.
And has
From the
that
event.
gone to the town board?
I just want to.
We'll,
Oh, yeah. Should I send you into the, should I send you something?
no, we'll make sure it happens. Because we get to use that.
Maybe we need our mask to get out.
Let's just do it, just so we get it, sorry.
Yeah.
We're-